Welcome, everyone, to another Singularity Syndicate podcast. I'm your host, Naja Faisal. Today, we are delighted to welcome Professor Ahmed El Noshokaty. I hope that I'm pronouncing it right. And we're going to talk about how AI is reshaping the future of healthcare as well as the society in general. Today is a very important podcast because Dr. Ahmed has a long history. I happened to read your profile on LinkedIn, and I was fascinated and delighted to see all of the experience you had, whether in the academia side of things and research side of things, as well as in the entrepreneurial side of things. So I'm very happy to discuss all of that with you. So welcome to the program, and please tell us more about your journey.
Thank you very much, Najah, for the nice introduction. I really appreciate it. And you pronounced my name correctly, so that's great too. You don't have to worry. It's actually difficult in Arabic and in English, so that's fine. So I've been working in my research is mainly in social media analytics and health informatics. Lately, I've been doing research trying to understand really like during the pandemic why people were against wearing masks. Um, and it's a way to contain the pandemic, and it was one of the most important guidelines by the CDC. So we went to Twitter, me and my team, and we tried to mine Twitter posts, public posts, by people who are against wearing masks, like Mask of America, mask hogs, all like the hashtags related to like people against wearing masks. And it was enlightening because we were we were able to leverage AI and machine learning models to group the topics that were discussed on social media. Um, Most of them were related to like a misconception of all the misconceptions related to um, people just trying to underplay or estimate the impact of the COVID-19. Also, some were related to constitutional rights, freedom of speech. Um, People are just having this conspiracy theory about like population control, big pharma, fake numbers, uh, underplaying really like the real impact of COVID-19. So I also think that this research was helpful in trying to enlighten government officials and healthcare officials worldwide to leverage social media analytics to try to debunk negative sentiments against like precautionary measures like uh, vaccination, wearing masks early on, uh, rather than just try to send like a abstract message, an awareness message, which is abstract, not really like addressing the main concern of people and trying to just like correct any misconception there. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this brought some memories because COVID-19 was just around the corner, and I remember that all the controversy around vaccines and masks, and even till this day, like there's a lot of people like think that this is a hoax and this is a conspiracy, and so it's kind of like we live in a world where today even science is not agreed upon, and this is kind of a sad reality that even science, like even when it comes to like say other, regardless of COVID-19, like other health issues or whatever, you will always see science on both sides. And it's kind of like, I think this long-term impact for that would be to downgrade science to a point where like it's an opinion, although the whole premise of science is to debunk opinions. It's not an opinion, it's a scientific fact. But nowadays there's a thin line between the two.
yeah, I agree. Like people just tend to argue everything. However, like some organizations like the CDC, and we should like trust that these organizations are actually trying to help with just managing uh, a big like event like a pandemic and trying to contain it as much as possible. So yeah, I'm like it's a little bit scary. I agree that everything is being like doubted.
Right. I'm going to talk more about your research, and you have fascinating publications that I happen to skim through. But I want to know more about you. You're from Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm from Lebanon, so we're kind of neighbors. And you started with studying computer science or something like in that field. So why did you pick that major in the first place?
So I was in high school in back in Egypt, and I really enjoyed like studying math and physics. So in Egypt, you just like the closest university to these two areas is engineering. So I went to the college of School of Engineering in Alexandria where I lived, and I took like a computer programming course at the first year, which is usually just I'm just trying to tackle many topics in engineering, and I enjoyed like the programming course, and I found it's an interesting field. So I did like join the Department of Computer Engineering and System Development, and then I just finished like my 4 years in school. I worked afterwards as a software engineer for a company called Ijata. So we were trying to help telecommunication companies, banks, and other like businesses to leverage IT solutions for being aligned with their goals and mission and adding business values. Um, and then I did like start startup called Busletak. It's an Arabic word of campus. So it was helping high school students to um, find different career paths and different schools that would meet their preferences. It was more of an online counseling web service, and it was funded by Yahoo back in 2011, um, and it was a successful like website at the beginning, but the business model did not work out because I was um the business model was trying to charge students for online career counseling that did not like really like succeed, and students did not have the purchasing power, I believe, or maybe they did not, maybe like they don't like find this as a great service, so it didn't really go well at the end. But I really like, learned from the experience, and then I actually like came to the US doing my PhD program. I finished it in 2018. And then since then, I'm working as assistant professor. I was working at Northern Michigan University at the beginning, and then now at Kent State University, San Bernardino.
Yeah, that's incredible. And yeah, I think the Busletic thing, I checked it out. In principle, like career counseling is very important. However, students at the young age probably don't realize the value of it. And also, like as you said, like I remember when I was a college student, I was barely making ends meet and trying to save every little penny. So I think that's probably, I think this program, if it was funded by like government organization or probably the way, for example, Cal State right now, they fund like counseling, mental health, all of that stuff. They fund it. It's free for charge for students. If probably that was the case in Busledak, probably Busledak would have worked even better. uh, but I want to ask you, and this is something that I ask probably everybody who comes to the program, is that when you started studying computer science and software engineering, have you ever imagined the world of AI that we're seeing today?
Well, at that time, it was 2011, 12, and 13. Yeah, AI was actually like gaining traction. Um, not like mainstream like now. I would say like after 2015, it being like being more mainstream and empowering all businesses. But AI was empowering like robots, decisions, expert systems were there. Uh, but I think like in this last decade, it really like gained lots of traction, especially with generative AI models and uh, how like we use like these models like day to day right now. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's a big jump there. Yeah.
So tell me your experience when you first used ChatGPT. What was it like?
I remember using it for the first time was trying to code some text corpus. So in research, we do something called like qualitative research. We do like manual coding of uh, text, trying to go through text and just highlight the different codes there. So I remember like trying to avoid this tedious task and relying on ChatGPT to do it. And I was surprised with how good it was with doing the job. Not to say that it was perfect, but it did like do, I would say, like the first cut of coding really well.
Mhm.
And yeah, it saved a lot of time. So and also I tried it in coding, so trying to like um, write like computer programs like Python programs. So it was also good, and it was surprising for me because like uh, I did the first like time of using it, I didn't really expect much, but it proved to be like uh, good.
Are you trying, are you using it right now? Like, did you upgrade to the GPT-4 model? Have you tried asking it like personal questions, advice in life, and did you notice how much of like a reasoning machine that we have created as a humanity?
Yeah, I did try, and it was yeah, it is like to some extent like pretty much accurate, I would say, uh, and I would say it would be even more accurate even with more use. Um, it's really fascinating, yeah. And I would say also like it brings like some concerns of being open AI is a platform to empower all other like users. They could use it for good use or not maybe like bad use. So then it comes to like the question of how to regulate the use of generative AI and also not be like uh, like be controlling in a sense, but also like regulating in somehow.
Yeah, I noticed that your PhD, it says doctor in philosophy, um, and then it says computer, if I'm not mistaken, it says Doctor of Philosophy, Computer and Information Sciences.
Mm, yeah.
So, so is there a difference between Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of something else? Because this is something I'm interested in as well. Like personally, like I want to see like what's the difference between like going into the philosophy, because to be honest, artificial intelligence is very much it has the technical side, of course, but it also has a philosophical side. Like what does it mean to have intelligent machines that are more capable than us humans, or what does it mean, could these machines become conscious, and all of these big questions, right? These are part of the philosophy scope, where if you want to go into like machine learning and all the technicalities of how like the data science side of things, then we are more into the college of science or computer science. So is there a distinction in your PhD, or it's just happened to be a part of the college of philosophy, or
Well, I mean, like PhD is just like um, you could take a PhD in computer science, in philosophy, in English literature. It depends really on which field, but they call it like PhD regardless of which field you are in. And actually, like sometimes they name it like Doctor of Science. You could find like uh, British like schools giving like the doctoral program as Doctor of Science, and some other schools give it as PhD of philosophy. But it's I believe it's the same thing. We have like uh, you know doctoral program where we have like the first couple of maybe 2 years, or some programs have the first 3 years, some coursework, and then there is more like a weight on research and your thesis, which is your work in the PhD, that really like is your contribution, and you wouldn't really like get the degree before doing this thesis and get it approved from your advisors and committee. Um, but it's really like the naming of Doctor of Science or PhD. Uh, it differs from one school to the other, and I'm not sure how they actually like base the naming for. Uh, but I think they all have the same structure to a sense.
Got it. And how long did it take you?
It took me 4 years, so
4 years.
2018. So I remember August to August. It's a complete four.
That's considered incredibly fast because some PhD took like 7 years, 8 years sometimes. And I heard also that a PhD you have only one shot. If it wasn't approved, like you're done. There's no more attempts, correct?
Exactly. I had my master's in Egypt, and maybe this like contributed to shortening like the PhD period to
Hmm.
some sense. But yeah, but I agree, Naja, that there are some PhD programs that would take like 7 years, or on average, I would say like 5 years. Yeah.
Wow. And what was your research?
My research was mainly in trying to help the online civic engagement. My research was, remember, like the websites like change.org, this website for trying to help like people, having a platform for them to state their causes and find supporters there. So my main research area was to leverage AI techniques in order to study from a content perspective um, what does it take for a petition to succeed uh, from a psycholinguistic point of view through text mining techniques, trying to mine petitions and build like a machine learning model that predict if this petition would succeed or not. And surprisingly, we found like features like emotion features and moral features and cognitive features help uh, online petitions to be expressed better and to engage more supporters. And this was pretty touching for me because um, I'm a big supporter for this online civic moves in general. So it was nice just to support the online civic engagement community, and the biggest community was change.org. It was used um, in the US, Middle East, everywhere to raise voice against like um, political oppression and other like issues there.
Yeah, and was it like around the time of the Arab Spring or
My PhD was after the Arab Spring, way after the Arab Spring. I did like 2018, but
got it?
it was used like like in Arab Spring in the US, in Iran, all over like the world. People just try to raise their voice um, in a way to get more people supporting them. And online civic platforms were really helpful in that sense. Uh,
Absolutely. And you know, as I'm hearing you say stuff about that, it's very nice to see that there's are people in the world who really care about other people and who really care about mobilizing change in society and not. And this is part of like the discussion. And I'm an advocate of like people have to should really focus on what's their purpose in life and what's their mission And I personally like had a lot of heated conversations with some of my friends. Like they will be like, why do you need to have a purpose, or like just be happy and enjoy life or whatever. And I always, think that, my life has to have more meaning than just, survival and living. So I'm always trying to see, okay, what's my purpose? How can I influence change? How can I help humanity? How can I, I'm always in that mindset. And it's refreshing to see that you also, professor, had also similar ideas, and that's how you mobilized your passion to for civic movements into a PhD program. So that's really refreshing. But what could you say about like this idea of like having purpose in life, or just like being, or just like try to make money and live?
Well, Najla, you pinpoint on a really important topic here, which is having a purpose, and also like you mentioned that you had a debate, or why wouldn't you like enjoy your life and just like not have a purpose? I don't think you're gonna enjoy life if you don't have a purpose. This is my belief. And the best purpose that would make you actually happy and enjoying life is to help others and try to like help people and find them succeed. Uh, this would actually be the most rewarding success for you, and also the most sustainable way of enjoyment. Because like other ways of enjoyment, from my point of view, are not sustainable. You could just like go and just go to a party, like you enjoy just maybe the night, that's it. But if you are helping people, this would be more sustainable and more ongoing, and you'll be more happy, I would say. I would argue this.
I think so. I agree totally with you, Professor. Absolutely. It just gives it more meaning. It's like long term, like impact. I don't know
Mm,
really how to articulate it, but there is something beyond just short term pleasure. Short
exactly.
term pleasure is always, I feel dirty when I engage in short term pleasure. I don't know if that's a
Yes,
good or bad thing.
some of them they are. But I mean, like, there's nothing wrong about like having like short
Of
term.
course.
If you have like your like your perspective on life, or just like your goal or your um, motivation, it should be like or purpose. It should be like like on the higher level, on just having something big. And I don't think like this small pleasures would be like would be I would say qualifying to this big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So after you finish your PhD, and I think you mentioned about your publications are mainly related to your PhD about like change.com and stuff, but I want to stress on this. Do you think right now civic change is still happening on these platforms like change.com and others?
So it's change.org. So change.org.
Change.org.
I think still there is the platform is used heavily by for different purposes, for animal rights, human rights, political oppression, you name it. Like many different like categories of petitions there, and still used. And um, I remember like it went to mainstream media once. One of the petitions, it was like against like a sports drink company, and a high school girl, or I think it was middle school girl. She just filed a petition on change.org. It went viral through social media, and then through mainstream media. And the CEO of like the sports drink company actually like, took it seriously, and they actually withdrew like the bottles that was. So the girl found that there's harmful chemical substance in this sports drink by in her like chemistry experiments in school, and she just wanted to help people not drink the sports drink. And then like, it actually changed. It is a agent of change, I would say, especially to people who are don't really have much like lobby or any like political influence, like this like middle school girl. So it is like an agent of change, and it's still used, yeah, right now.
Do you think that it's more effective than just posting on social media, or is it like it has to go in conjunction with social media? Or there are also a lot of success stories with websites like GoFundMe and stuff. Like there would be like this. I remember hearing about this pizza delivery driver who, I don't know what happened to him, and he ended up raising a lot of money on GoFundMe because of some incident that happens. What do you think about these like three basically areas, like the GoFundMe, which is voting with money, which is more, I think, heavyweight than just signing a petition online, versus just posting on social media and let the algorithm of the social media rank this topic higher and higher in the trending results, and this would probably also would impact change.
I would say that like it should be in conjunction, and I agree that like going to GoFundMe and just like putting money, it's more showing more support than just signing a petition. Um, but I think uh, as you leverage more channels, you might get more people viewing or supporting your cause. So I would say, like for sure, like the more the better. And you don't know when it's gonna like go viral, or some of them actually do not go viral. These causes, unfortunately, but uh, if
So
you
your
put
research was pinpointing those who go viral, and you said part of the reason why they go viral is because of they are emotional or something like that.
you
What
know,
other factors?
yeah, emotion is pretty intuitive, right? Najla, if you express like positive emotions, most probably you're gonna get more people um, resonating with your cause, right? But also like the interesting thing was that getting like enlightening content, factual information would
Mm.
also like resonate with people. And surprisingly, like the less moral content you have, like rectitude or model, our research one. So rectitude and model is like telling people you should do this, you must do that, like having this like big brother like type of messaging people, imperative mode. No, people would negatively, no, this would negatively influencing people's engagement with your cause. Also, more like instilling, like religious words like hell, heaven, like would also negatively, like you know, resonate with people. This is from our research, um, and you should just focus on factual, enlightening content that draws people into your cause.
That's very interesting. So basically, your PhD is kind of like a guideline on how to use these platforms effectively. And they can people, if they are interested to learn more, can find your publications on LinkedIn, I believe.
Yeah, and also go Google Scholar. So I could send you like after like the podcast the Google Scholar like handler. So it's over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Um, all right. So you have your fair share of like business experience and work experience, as well as entrepreneurial ventures with the different projects that you started, and then you did your PhD, and now you're in academia. What's the difference between the two, and which one you prefer being in?
So I worked in first as a software engineer for almost like 5 years, and I then went from being a software engineer to a senior software engineer, where I had like leading a team of software engineers, and then I just left my job at Ijada and then worked as a project owner for Bosletok for almost 3 years. and I've been in academia from 2014 until today. I would say everything has a pros and cons. Um, you have like it's more fast paced for sure in working in the industry than working in academia. Um, it's you have like more challenges that each day you face, and you come up with more innovative solutions. It's enjoying in that it's enjoyable in that sense. Also, there's many uncertainty there. This is the drawback, and we saw like the uncertainty with like the like the layoffs in the tech industry, unfortunately, lately. Um, in academia, it's more stable. I would say you're one of the other pros here that you're doing whatever you find interesting as research. So, for example, I found like online civic engagement, health informatics, something that of interest for me. So I pursued it, and I really like doing it. Also, like it's really rewarding when you change students' life to the better and trying to impact them and help them find a job and learn something to help them throughout their life. Uh, that's going back to the purpose question. That's a very like dear thing that I really cherish doing in academia. Um, and the drawbacks is like it's not as uh, like dynamic as working in the industry. Uh, but the research, it's this is the part where I really find it like more dynamic. Also, like when you engage students in your research, you find it more rewarding trying to get students hooked on a topic that is perceived as hot topic in like AI or machine learning. So I feel I'm more uh, in enjoying working in academia myself than before. Uh, so I'm
Yeah,
glad being shifting to this like area.
yeah. Happy to hear that. And I'm now in the middle of my thesis as part of my master's. And yeah, I'm excited because I'm choosing. I chose a. To be honest, I'm still choosing because choosing the right topic for your research is really hard,
Mhm.
especially that I'm someone who's highly ambitious, and I want to. I was watching a movie yesterday called The Theory of Everything for Stephen Hawkins on, I think, on Prime. But it's a really fascinating movie about the story of Dr. Stephen Hawking's, and he wanted to find a theory of everything. In physics, I'm sure that you know that there's the quantum theory and there's the theory of relativity, and he wanted to like find the theory of everything. And this kind of resonates with me because I'm someone who's like, I want to leave a legacy. I want to add a mark to the I want to contribute to the world of science. So when I have a thesis project like the one I have today, I'm shooting for the stars, but I know it's not realistic because I only have 3 months pretty much. And with the limited resources and also my lack of experience in conducting such research. So thankfully I have an advisor, Dr. Tossin, who was also on the program, and I'm also extending an invitation if you would like also to be my second advisor, in addition to, of course, Dr. Conrad. But yeah, so this is the kind of thing that I'm still trying to figure out. Where's the niche that I could feasibly finish a good piece of work that is like I can be okay with personally and proud of, but at the same time I want to make it feasible, so that I don't like shoot myself in the foot, basically. So yeah, I'm excited about research, and I feel that I can see myself in research. Like I can see myself doing my PhD after. So that's why your profile really resonates with me, especially that we're coming from the Middle East, both of us. So it was kind of a nice to connect on even without ever meeting before. So it was like the first meeting was on the live. So now I want to know more about your research. And you mentioned that you're interested in health informatics and social media. So can you tell me more about like what is it that you're focusing on right now?
Sure, yeah. Right now, I'm focusing on health informatics research. I have a couple of pipelines working on right now. One of them is trying to see the adverse side effects of kratom, and kratom is a type of cannabis. Uh, Cannabis being legal in most of the states here in the U.S. Um, Leverage social media analytics in order to mine from actual use of users. What are the side effects of using like kratom for recreational purposes? For sure, there is lots of you know, great use of for example, treating ALS or other like chronic diseases. I'm talking just for recreational purposes. This is one research project I'm working on. Another one was trying to um, mine also social media in order to um, see like the increasingly mental health issue, and try to see the different categories of discussions. There is unfortunately the discussion on mental health is there's lots of concerns from people on social media: depression, anxiety, stress, suicidal attempts. So trying also to understand the concerns, the mental health concerns, and trying to um, highlight maybe severe cases that might be need immediate intervention.
That is so interesting, especially the first one, because I also came from the Middle East, and I arrived here in California, and like cannabis is legal here. So and I have a lot of like friends who swear by it. Like they said that it has a lot of benefits, and so it's really interesting. Although some other people says that it gives them anxiety, some other people says that it probably could cause dementia as we grow older. It kind of affected the brain in the bad way. So there's also two different points of view when it comes to that research topic that you're involved in. How is there any results that you are comfortable to share at this moment, or it's still in the early stages?
No, we did like some data analysis, and mainly people are talking about like rashes in their body, uh, urination problems, um, fever, uh, diarrhea. So there is actually from actual use there is side effects there, and personally I'm supportive to taking cannabis or any type of drug for medical purposes, medically subscribed uh, cannabis use from a physician. That's great to treat a disease, but for recreational purposes, I'm not really an advocate myself. So again, we're in this research, we're trying to mind the adverse side effects, as well as also trying to see um just the benefits of just to be unbiased as well, and just to report both from people's
So,
view.
from your research, what are kind of the main benefits that you're looking at, or like people are saying about cannabis? And of course, I want you also to make the distinction between CBD alone, which is used for like insomnia and other like sleep related things and pain reliefs and stuff, and also the THC, which is a psychoactive, which mainly used for recreational purposes. So, is there any benefits that you can talk about?
Just as you highlighted, Naja, the pain relief, better sleep, these are on the top of the benefits. Um, and stress release. Um, so these are the report. Again, we just report from people just public tweets, Um and I could see the benefits for for just certain treatment, as you just mentioned, medical treatment. Uh, but like having all these side effects of like skin rashing and urination problems, diarrhea, uh, dry mouth, all these are lots of like side effects. Um, from my like point of view or opinion, I couldn't justify it for just recreation use, uh, but definitely for like medical subscription or a medical prescription. I mean, it would be like
Some people compare it to alcohol. They say, well, it's much better than alcohol.
mm,
What's your your argument to that? Because they say, well, alcohol has a lot of calories.
mhm.
It has a lot of like it's so much bad for you as well. I mean, but some people say, well, at least recreational THC could be a better alternative to alcohol, especially that people need to have fun. I think we live in a very stressful environment, and people sometimes need to just to find ways. Of course, I'm a big advocate of sports. I find so much joy in going to the gym and going hiking and playing chess, and this is all things that I regularly do. But the argument on the other side would be like, okay, well, we need to have some fun. So is there a fun attribute related to cannabis?
Well, I actually did not use it myself, so I can really like tell you from a personal experience. Uh, and alcohol, just going back to your question about like alcohol use. Again, I mean, like there is benefits to alcohol, there is benefits to uh, cannabis, uh, but to extent, and also like how to draw the line. It becomes really sketchy there to being an addict or taking only the benefits. And uh, addiction is really out of scope of my research, but it's a slippery slope, I would say. So having fun, you could have fun with just enjoying a nice like dinner, maybe like a nice walk. Sports, as just mentioned, Naja, going hiking, going cycling, uh, doing all the fun stuff, going bowling with your friends. Many different fun stuff there.
Yeah, I extend another invitation for you to join our hiking group because we have like a big hiking group and we hike almost every Sunday. So
Oh, that's awesome! I would love to join for sure. Do you guys go
absolutely.
to like Black Bear and San Bernardino National Forest?
Yes, yes. We try to make it convenient for everybody. Like we don't go for long drives because like if we're waking up in the morning to go for a hike, we want it to be at less than 1 hour in distance. So we do a lot here, like in Claremont, and sometimes we go to the Hollywood sign. Some others we go to the Riverside. So yeah, we have a full schedule for the whole year.
Oh
Every
wow!
weekend is different.
I would definitely would like to join for sure.
Absolutely, I would be delighted to have you with us. All right, but I have to commend you that you chose a very interesting topic, and I think whatever. I look forward to read the outcome of this research when you finalize it, because I think you touched on a very sensitive and controversial topic of cannabis, and it's very interesting, I think, and you're very smart in choosing a topic like that because I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are interested in learning about the latest, in terms of like also the public opinion, which what your area exactly.
Mhm.
um, any final thoughts about how you're using AI in your research? Is there like anything that you would like to add? And
I would just like to highlight the importance of health informatics and leveraging AI in healthcare. It's very important to highlight that right now healthcare industry is being supported by AI in different use cases. For example, trying to predict severe diseases like heart diseases, diabetes, based on millions of records of patients, based on the demographic measurement, medical measurements, etc. So AI is empowering health informatics and healthcare in different topics, and this is actually one of the research I'm trying to study. So how to improve people's lives, if the online civic engagement or healthcare. The research topics I'm working right now is in, as I mentioned, for kratom and mental health. For the as a long-term plan, I'm just want to study more how could AI shape the healthcare industry, how it could improve um, you know the well-being of people. Um, so that's the long-term goal. I also want to thank my colleagues, my co-authors, Dr. Omar, Abdullah, Muhammad, Tariq, and Jim, and Lance, so that for their continued work on research projects like this. So this is teamwork. It wasn't my sole work. Uh,
And I'd love to contribute as well. If you can consider me for further contributions, I would love to join your team and help, because again, I find your topics very interesting indeed. And yeah, anything I could do to help, even consider this platform anytime you want to, you and your team, if you want to share your research findings, I would love to arrange a session like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I would love to talk about your research and thesis, and yeah, I would love for sure. And thanks for having me today, Naja. It was a pleasure to be on your podcast. It's a lovely podcast. I saw a bunch of nice podcasts on your channel. So thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it.
thanks for accepting this invitation, Dr. Ahmed. And again, the pleasure is mine and the honor is mine. I'm so happy to get to meet you on this podcast and hopefully it will not be the only engagement with us. I'm delighted to have met you, and you're incredible. Your work is great. Your resume is speaks for itself. So it's an honor to have you as a friend and as a guest, and hopefully this will be the first of many interactions between us. So thank you for accepting this, and for those who are watching, thank you for watching and listening. Have a great rest of your day.
You're most welcome, Naja. Thank you very much again. Looking forward to the hiking.
Absolutely.